Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to my review of Season 4, Episode 15 of Lucha Underground called The Hunted. And this was a good episode of Lucha Underground tonight. It was a really enjoyable episode, very fun. We had 2 championships on the line tonight. We had the Gift of the Gods Championship, and we had the Lucha Underground Championship. Both of those were on the line. So let's get started with the review. And the first match that we had tonight, it was Fenix versus Aerostar. And this was a good match. This was an enjoyable match. Fenix ended up making his entrance. Looked like he was possessed. And Melissa Santos looked upset at Fenix, when he made his entrance, because if you remember last week, Fenix ended up pushing, shoving down Melissa, and then we had Aerostar make his entrance, and the show went to a commercial after Aerostar made his entrance. Then when the episode came back, the match got underway. Like I said, it was a good match. It was a very fun match. Fenix, at the start of the match, ended up, laying out, a huge, loud scream. It was like the first sign, of emotion that, he has, since, he was brought back. And it was a back and forth match between the both of them. And the match spilled outside the ring later on, which was cool. And during this match, we just see facial expressions of Melissa, being concerned about Fenix. And at the end of the match, Fenix ended up pinning the Black Fire Driver to Aerostar for the win. So Fenix ends up winning the match. Then we got, after the match, Fenix ended up attacking Aerostar more. And, Melissa was out there. She was pleading for Fenix to stop, attacking Aerostar. And she ends up telling Fenix, she ends up saying, oh, this is not you, Fenix. And she ends up telling Fenix, to go get help, because, she's concerned about Fenix. Then we saw, Fenix end up leaving the ring, went over to Melissa, end up grabbing her. And then we had Dragon Azteca Jr. Come out to save Melissa. Fenix then started attacking Dragon Azteca Jr. And what was really crazy was Fenix ended up hitting the Black Fire Driver to Dragon Azteca Jr. on the floor. And, it was really crazy to see that. And Matt Striker, announced, on commentary that Dragon Azteca Jr., Dragon Azteca Jr.'s match was going to be, next after the commercial break, because the Gift of the Gods Championship was on the line. He was going to be taking on Marty the Moth Martinez. And the show went to commercial as, Melissa ended up calling for the medics to come out to check on Dragon Azteca Jr. So it went to commercial. Then when when the show came back for commercial, the medics were still out there. They were checking on Dragon Azteca Jr. Antonio Cueto then came out from his office. He ended up getting on the mic, and he says, Dragon Azteca Jr. made him a believer. And he thought Dragon Azteca Jr. was going to defend the Gift of the Gods Championship. And Antonio says Dragon is, clearly in no condition to defend the Gift of the Gods Championship. And Antonio ends up saying, he's calling the match a forfeit. And that he's going to be handing over the Gift of the Gods Championship to Marty the Moth Martinez. And El Dragon Azteca Jr. gets up, looks like, he's fine. He's like, no, I don't want that. I'm ready to compete. I could still compete. And Antonio says to El Dragon Azteca that, he has a heart. He has the heart of a champion. And so Antonio ends up reversing the decision, calling the match a forfeit, and, gets the match on the way. So the match, gets on the way. So it's El Dragon Azteca Jr. versus Marty the Moth Martinez for the Gift of the Gods Championship. And this was a good match. This was a very fun match. It was back and forth between them. Marty was in control early on in the match. El Dragon Azteca Jr. ended up making a comeback. And the match was, a babyface versus heel match. Marty ended up working the match, at a slow pace. And we just saw El Dragon Azteca Jr. using his, his high flying moves in the ring, which was very entertaining. And Marty the Moth Martinez ended up getting the win, and so he became the Gift of the Gods champion, the new Gift of the Gods champion. And it was really crazy. It was an unexpected moment, because I thought, my prediction, I was going to say El Dragon Azteca Jr. was going to hold the Gift of the Gods championship till like possibly maybe the end of the season, at Ultima Lucha Cuatro, but I was wrong on that. Sorry about that, but I was saying, I thought, El Dragon Azteca Jr. was going to hold the Gift of the Gods championship till Ultima Lucha Cuatro, but I was wrong on that. I predicted wrong. But, Lucha Underground is, very unpredictable, to have your predictions, come true with this, because you never know what will happen. So, Marty the Moth Martinez is the new Gift of the Gods champion. So, all in all, it was a good match. It was a very fun match. Very entertaining. And very unexpected that, Marty the Moth Martinez, became the Gift of the Gods champion. Then when Lucha Underground came back from the commercial, we saw Paul London, the Rabbit Tribe. He visits with the White Rabbit. Paul London ends up telling the White Rabbit that he sacrificed the other members of the Rabbit Tribe, as loyalty to the White Rabbit. And then the White Rabbit asks Paul London to show him and El Bunny the way to the new temple, to the Ice Temple. And then we just see they teleport away. So that was that little scene with Paul London and the White Rabbit. So this is gonna be interesting with Paul London and the White Rabbit storyline that they're doing. So this is gonna get interesting. Then we had the three-way match. This was for the Lucha Underground Championship. It was Pentagon Dark versus King Cuerno versus Mil Muertes. Very good match. Another good match. The match started with Pentagon Dark and King Cuerno going after Mil Muertes. Mil Muertes, ended up coming back. Had the upper hand of the match. Ended up taking down Pentagon and King Cuerno. And King Cuerno went for a dive, but was kicked by Pentagon. Pentagon ended up hitting a dive to King Cuerno. We saw all three men, brawling outside the ring, which was really awesome. We also saw here in this match, Muertes end up ripping the mask of Pentagon. You know, it wasn't the whole mask, though. It was like the top of Pentagon's mask. Pentagon was, you know, fighting back, and he was hip tossed into the bleachers. And the finish of the match, we saw Pentagon end up hitting a package pile driver on King Cuerno. End up going for the cover. Pentagon end up winning the match. Still retains the Lucha Underground Championship. And we had, after the match, Marty the Moth Martinez end up running into the ring. He ends up attacking Pentagon from behind. He ends up picking up, Marty the Moth ends up picking up the Lucha Underground Championship. And, you know, he waits for Pentagon, you know, to turn around. And then Marty just rams the Lucha Underground Championship into Pentagon, you know, into the face of Pentagon. And Antonio Cueto ends up coming out from his office again. And he ends up saying to Marty that, you know, Marty ended up making a convincing argument to him last week. And Antonio ends up, you know, saying that, you know, the gift of the gods, that Marty could exchange the gift of the gods championship. It could be exchanged for a Lucha Underground Championship match. You know, whenever, you know, Marty the Moth Martinez wants it. And so Antonio asks, you know, Marty if he wants to exchange the gift of the gods championship, you know, for, you know, the Lucha Underground Championship. And so, you know, Marty ends up wanting that, and Antonio, you know, makes the match official. The match begins. And so it's Pentagon Dark versus Marty the Moth Martinez for the Lucha Underground Championship. And this was, you know, a fun match. This was some stuff in this match was very unexpected. And the match started. Marty would go for the pin to Pentagon. You know, very quick pins to Pentagon. Pentagon ended up kicking out of them. Marty then, we saw him tie Pentagon's mask to the ropes, and that just led Marty to beat up on Pentagon for like, you know, like a few moments. You know, I said Marty's, you know, mask was tied to the second rope, and that just led, you know, Marty to throw some punches at Pentagon. And you know, Marty then untied, you know, Pentagon's mask from you know, the second rope, and Pentagon would come back. Pentagon ends up hitting a Mexican destroyer to Marty the Moth Martinez, which looked really awesome. And, you know, it was a great move. It was a great move that Pentagon did to Marty, because when he did that, Marty just rolled out of the ring. And then we see this woman come out from under the ring, and this woman was Chelsea Green. Chelsea Green, she was a former star on, I think she was on Impact, she was on TNA, and, you know, she wrestles in the Indies. She wrestled at the All In pay-per-view, which she was in the you know, she was in a women's match, which she was awesome in that. That match at All In was awesome that she was in. She was in it with Britt Baker and a few other women there. Just very impressive. She also wrestles on the Indies. She's also the girlfriend to Woo Zack Ryder. So she ends up coming from under the ring, gets, you know, in the ring. She ends up hitting the Canadian Destroyer to Pentagon, and Marty would then come back into the ring, ends up hitting Pentagon's finisher, the package pile driver on Pentagon for the win. And Marty the Moth Martinez is your new Lucha Underground champion, which was very, very unexpected. I wouldn't have never thought that Marty would win the Gift of the Gods championship and the Lucha Underground championship on in this same episode. It was really crazy. He made history. For Lucha Underground in tonight's episode. He really did. And after the match, we saw Chelsea and Marty. They were celebrating. They were celebrating in the ring. Sorry about that, but I was saying, after the match, we saw Chelsea and Marty the Moth Martinez, celebrating in the ring, as it went off, as the episode ended. But Marty the Moth Martinez versus Pentagon Dark for the Lucha Underground Championship. Very good match. Very fun match. It was very unexpected, in some parts, with Chelsea Green coming out, from under the ring, and Marty being the Lucha Underground champion, the new Lucha Underground champion. But Chelsea Green, aside from her being in TNA Impact, which I haven't seen her in because I don't watch TNA. I never watched TNA. I remember she was in that that storyline between Brie Bella and Stephanie on Raw. I think it was back in 2014 where Chelsea Green ended up playing a physical therapist for Daniel Bryan, which some of you might remember this. I remember she actually confessed to having an affair with Daniel Bryan, and that got Brie Bella pissed, and she ended up slapping Stephanie. It was during that whole storyline between Brie Bella and Stephanie. I also remember she was in the 2015 Tough Enough contest that she was in. So yeah, so that was all what Chelsea Green was in. She also still wrestles for the Indies, which she's awesome, and she's great in the ring. So yeah, so anyways, that's it for my review of Season 4, Episode 15 of Lucha Underground, called The Hunted. Hope you all enjoyed this review. Thank you all for watching. And definitely give this video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. And until the next video, I'll see you all later. Bye.